expression and contained within the awareness that you are. When we live lucidly, when we wake up in this moment and see that we are the awareness within all of which all of this is happening, you see that you are not separate from anything or anyone. Just like in a dream. And you see that there's one of us. So if you look at your apparent nature, we're all different. Men and women, this and that, tall, short, young, old, da-da. And each of us is an absolutely unique perspective on time and space. Completely particular. But become aware of your essential identity, what you are. The I, there's no difference between us. You are the presence of awareness within which the dream is arising, and so am I. You are that which is witnessing this, and so am I. You are the unborn, and so am I. So you start to see this paradox. Here we're different. Here, there's one of us. There's one life dreamer dreaming itself to be everyone and everything and experiencing this incredible epic through everyone and everything. And whilst we look out into our separateness, we're all separate. But as soon as we turn our attention back onto what is looking, we're all the same. And here we are, meeting ourselves in other forms, right now. And then you see number 6, which is kind of a resume, really. You are a paradox. This whole thing, this moment, it seems to me, is predicated on polarity or paradox. I love polarity because if you take any polarity, it's paradoxical. Take hot and cold. Hot is the opposite of cold, but hot can't exist without cold. It's true of every polarity you can think of. They're opposites and cannot coexist, and yet they cannot not coexist. They're both two and one at the same time. What this moment is, it seems to me, is both two and one at the same time. We're both separate and not separate at the same time. There's one awareness dreaming itself to be and having a perspective on itself in order to experience anything. So here, I'm in the world. Here, the world is in me. Here, I'm in time. Here, time is in me. Here, I'm one amongst many. Here, it's all one. And both of those are true right now, just like in a dream. And when we dream lucidly, we see it, and when we live lucidly, we see it. How does it feel? This is the last little insight I'd like to share with you. How does that feel? Insight number 7 is being one is loving all. Being one is loving all. What is love? Love's how we feel when we see through the veneer of separateness. You know, I have my little girl, she's 5, and I love her to bits. And I see that although she's separate from me, she isn't. She's part of who I am. I see through the veneer between us, and she's part. And so her joys are my joys, her suffering is my suffering, her dreams are my dreams. We all do that. And most of us extend that sense of who we are so far. Our friends, our family, maybe our religion, maybe our race, so far. And then it stops. And then our loving stops where our sense of self ceases. And then there's them. What happens if there's no them? What happens if we wake up and discover that it really is all one? Not as some nice idea, but as a statement of what this moment is. That we are one with everyone and everything. Well, what happens over here is that I start to understand things like love others as yourself. Because I start seeing that's exactly what they are. You know, discovering this one consciousness, this one awareness that we are. You know, it's what the original Christians called the Christ. It's what Paul calls the Christ within. And we are the bodies of the Christ. That's what he says. We are the personas of this one dreamer. In India, it's called the Atman, or the Buddha nature. And you call it I. We all do. We all have the same name for ourselves. Isn't that sweet? We have a different name for everybody, but our name for ourselves is all the same. I'm I. And we write it like a one. If we recognize that oneness, we come into love with everything which is. We come into love with life. And that changes everything. Because that's the feeling that we're being drawn to, that oneness, to experience that. And I'm sure probably everyone in this room knows from personal experience that when that one love hits you, it's yes, that's what I need to be. That's where I need to be. I know that is absolutely true of Tim. And nothing else will do it. So what I see is that this moment, this incredibly, incredibly profound moment, has many of the characteristics of a dream. And it's a dream in which we appear to be separate. But if we wake up and live lucidly, we see that we're one. And this doesn't take away from the dream. Actually, it has the opposite effect. You see, why you think you're just a separate thing? See, if I think I'm just Tim, it's terrifying. I'm just this tiny little speck in 14 galaxies, you know, and this no, look, if you think you're just your body, the only rational response, it seems to me, is terror. Or you're just living in denial. Because look around you. What's in store is not good. If you discover that's not all that you are, rather it's something through which you're being able to experience all of this in this dream of life, then it's possible to fall in love with it and to embrace it and to actually enter in, because you can take risks. You can stand up on the stage and wave your arms around like I do. You know, you can just, whatever you do, you can take risks. Because that's not who you are. It's not just